The Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, under President Biden's administration, has put forward a proposal to tighten regulations on carbon emissions produced by power plants. The administration of President Biden has revealed a comprehensive strategy on Thursday to significantly decrease greenhouse gas emissions in the United States power sector. This marks one of the most significant strides in its endeavor to decarbonize the economy as a means of combating climate change. The proposition aims to restrict the amount of carbon dioxide that power plants emit into the air, as they are responsible for over 25% of all emissions in the United States. This would require the industry to invest billions of dollars in new equipment or face closure over several years. For quite some time now, environmental groups and scientists have been advocating for these measures, stating that they are necessary in order to combat global warming. However, states that produce fossil fuels have contested these claims, arguing that they constitute an infringement of government authority and could potentially destabilize the electrical grid. The standards put forth in the proposal are designed to encourage power companies to implement carbon capture equipment, CCS, that can extract and store CO2 emissions from a plant's smokestack before they are released into the atmosphere. Alternatively, power companies can opt to use hydrogen with extremely low emissions as a fuel source. According to the Environmental Protection Agency, the proposed plan has the potential to decrease carbon emissions from coal and new gas plants by 617 million tons from 2028 to 2042. This reduction is comparable to the yearly emissions of 137 million passenger vehicles. During a speech on the last day of school at the University of Maryland, the EPA Administrator, Michael Regan, unveiled fresh technological regulations that will yield a significant decrease in greenhouse gas discharges from fossil fuel-based power plants. The aim of this initiative is to safeguard the well-being of our planet and its inhabitants. According to Regan, the agency has utilized the authority granted by the Federal Clean Air Act to establish fresh regulations for power plants. In addition, the agency has put forth a series of initiatives targeting automotive emissions, as well as potent greenhouse gases like methane and HFCs. These measures are estimated to decrease greenhouse gas emissions by 15 billion tons from 2022 to 2055. In a statement to the press, Ali Zaidi, the White House's climate advisor, explained that the proposition would ensure the United States stays on course to achieve its target of producing zero net emissions from the power sector by the year 2035. He stated that the proposed regulations are in complete alignment with the President's objectives upon examining both the current rules and the proposed modifications. After over a year and a half of development, the proposal has finally been released. It is an embodiment of the limitations imposed upon the EPA by the Supreme Court's ruling last year. The EPA cannot enforce a complete replacement of fossil fuels with renewable energy sources. However, it is authorized to regulate individual plants by defining technology-based standards that are applied exclusively on-site. During the Democratic presidency of Barack Obama, a significant attempt was made in 2015 to drastically reduce emissions from the power industry. However, this was impeded by legal obstacles and eventually eliminated in 2019 under the Republican administration of President Donald Trump. Even the Trump administration's reduced energy regulations were not able to withstand legal scrutiny and were overruled by the courts. According to Patrick Morrisey, the Attorney General of West Virginia, who spearheaded the legal opposition against the last EPA carbon rule, his coal-producing state will be prepared to take the lead once more in combating federal overreach. In his statement, he suggested that the current proposal seems to be tailor-made to intimidate more coal-fired power plants into retiring. Senator Joe Manchin, a Democrat from West Virginia, has issued a warning that he may prevent any and all EPA nominees from moving forward. This action is due to his concern over the potential impact of the rules on the coal industry. The proposition is currently awaiting review through the regulatory process of rulemaking, which includes an allotted time frame for public comment. The ultimate regulation must incorporate the feedback from the public, and it is projected that the final version will be completed after approximately a year. According to the agency and research groups, the current proposal mirrors the prevailing patterns in the power industry, where there has been a decrease in coal power capacity from 321 gigawatts to 219 gigawatts between 2005 and 2022. Conversely, there has been a rise in renewable energy capacity, and some utility companies are considering the implementation of CCS and hydrogen in their short-term strategies. Mark Dyson, who serves as the Carbon-Free Electricity Director at RMI, stated that the implementation of this standard will reinforce an ongoing shift towards renewable energy, which is being propelled by the persuasive economic benefits of clean energy. This shift will pave the way for a dependable and reasonably priced renewable electricity system that will be accessible to all. The estimated cost of the proposal by the EPA is projected to be over $10 billion for the power industry. Although this cost may seem quite high, it is anticipated to yield benefits to the environment and public health of around $85 billion, which is a significant return on investment. The Inflation Reduction Act, a climate bill that bears President Joe Biden's signature, has been stated to provide billions of dollars in tax incentives and credits for the deployment of green hydrogen and CCS. As a result, the decision to establish new standards on these technologies has been validated. As per the proposition, natural gas plants, both new and pre-existing, will be required to integrate CCS technology that eliminates 90% of their carbon discharges by 2035. Alternatively, they can opt to co-fire with hydrogen at a rate of 30% by 2032 and 96% by 2038. The standards imposed upon new peaker plants that use gas as a backup source of power generation would be less rigorous. The Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, will take into account the expected longevity of currently operational coal plants, which have been decreasing in number in recent times. If a coal plant operates beyond the year 2040, it will be mandated to implement CCS technology by 2030. On the other hand, coal plants that are expected to close between the years 2035 and 2040 must co-fire with 40% gas by 2030 based on the regulations. According to Regan, the EPA intends to witness the premature retirement of older plants as a consequence of the new proposals. Despite this, he has guaranteed that the effect on electricity rates will be insignificant. The costs were put into question by industry organizations. The proposal put forth by the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, has been met with criticism from the group America's Power. This group advocates for utilities that rely on coal for power generation. America's Power has voiced concerns regarding the legality of the proposal, citing the possibility that the EPA may not have the power to mandate the use of technologies that are not financially or technologically viable for widespread usage. The proposal was received positively by environmental organizations who praised the careful attention to detail in its construction, ensuring that it will be able to withstand legal challenges. Jay Duffy, the Clean Air Task Force's litigation director, stated that the EPA's current proposal to regulate the excessive carbon pollution within the power sector is a successful attempt after two previous unsuccessful ones. To support our channel's growth and ensure broader awareness, kindly hit the like and subscribe buttons. This will help us reach more individuals and disseminate valuable information. Thank you in advance.